call here tonight. I'm Dr. Brett Brimhall, and you've been invited here for different reasons, but you're part of what we call a Wellness Wednesday, which is where our goal is to help people get well, stay well, and be well. So what we're doing, we're focusing this year on getting fit, right? And fit can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. It can be being fit when it comes to mentally fit. It can be fit when it comes to physically fit. It can be fit when it comes to become financially fit. But the fitness begins right here, okay? And so I'm excited to share with you guys a few things that will hopefully give you some perspective that will matter. All right, so I want you to think about something. Have you ever heard this, right? Hey, when I turned this age, my metabolism went south. Like, who's heard that, right? Anybody? Okay. So when I turned 40, like, my metabolism went south. Or when I had that fourth kid or whatever, my metabolism went south. All right. So I want to change your perspective on this. Metabolism is directly related to the amount of muscle mass you have. Metabolism is how many calories you burn. That's metabolism. How fast, how efficient are you at burning calories? So what that means is the more muscles you have, that means the more workers you have burning things. So metabolism is equal to muscle, not age. Metabolism is equal to muscle, not age. Okay. So, and also metabolism is equal to messengers. All right. Now, what I mean by that, I'm going to teach you that you are sending a message to your cells based upon the conversation that you're allowing them to have. All right. So if you want more muscles, because you want more metabolism, you got to pay attention to the messages you send them. So for instance, if I go and I lift a weight, right, a muscle, you're sending a message to that muscle to go to work that's saying you need to burn calories to exercise, to burn that. So that's the message you send. So you can send a mechanical message to your muscle by lifting something. And when you do that, your brain says, oh, we got to lift that up. So I better send some fuel to that muscle to do that. So that's a mechanical message, right? But you also send other messages that you may not realize that are messages. All right. So I'm gonna show something. I'm gonna share my screen with you a second. And I'm gonna show y'all some really cool messages. And I hope that this helps you shift your paradigm of what's possible. All right. So there's this guy a long time ago that said this: let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. That was done by Hippocrates years and years and years and years and years ago. All right. So here's the current expansion of that. Your gene expression can change based upon what you eat, how you move, your thoughts, feelings, and social connections. So to kind of rephrase that, instead of to let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. We may not think about this much, but people take medication all the time, these little tiny things, right? These little tiny chemicals that changes how we feel. And there's not a very big thing. You think about a Tylenol, it's not a big thing, but it can change how you feel pain. Or let's just take a drug, marijuana or else. It's a very small thing, but it changes how we feel. So everything you do, everything you eat, everything you think has effect upon what message you're sending to your cells and how well they perform. And just like communication with an individual, the more you communicate with those cells and the more they're on point with each other, the better that communication to happen. And this is why this is important. Okay, this phrase is called nutrigenomics. Nutrigenomics is how in which your environment, nutrition, specifically plays into your genes. So just kind of follow this path. Here's a piece of broccoli, here's a hot dog, okay? When you put either one of those in your body, you're telling your body that I either want broccoli, that's going to tell your body, look, we want to do a certain thing, like I want to have calcium and magnesium. I want that to build bones, and I want that to turn on what's called the oncogenes, which are your cancer protective genes. And it tells your DNA to do that. It tells your other messenger RNA to do something, and it tells your body to build certain proteins. which eventually turned into a healthy state. Okay. So bottom line, when you eat broccoli, it tells your body, I want to be healthy. I want to be healthy. I want to be happy. I want to be energetic. When you eat a hot dog, okay, it tells your body to do something with your genes also. It says, hey, here comes the hot dog. And bottom line, it turns your body into an inflamed state, right? It gives your body more work to do to get rid of stuff versus building it up. So think about a conversation you're having somebody, and it's a super important conversation, all right? And it's critical that this conversation happens so that this person knows how to do something. Let's just say it's saving somebody's life. You know, you walk upon a scene, you say, hey, Joe, go call 911, right? It's that important, right? But all of a sudden now you're coming upon this accident and you're trying to tell Joe to go call 911, and there's 50 other people yelling other things to Joe. It changes the way that you can communicate with that person to then communicate something that's critical. That's nutrigenomics, right? And we don't think about it because if we ate a hot dog and we gained 20 pounds overnight, we wouldn't eat the hot dog. And my dog's agreeing. Hey, puppy. She's sending a message too. All right. Because if we ate a hot dog and we gained 20 pounds overnight, we wouldn't eat the hot dog. Well, if we ate broccoli and and all of a sudden we had this amazing energy overnight, we would eat broccoli all the time. That's not how it works. But what does happen is just as important is the message that happens from what you eat to what it eventually tells the body. All right. And you'll kind of see what it ends up telling you here. Either it tells you have oxidative stress, which is your body not repairing as fast, metabolic stress, which means less muscles, more inflammations, which means you hurt, neurologically stressed, which means you feel anxious and worried. All right. So here's kind of a picture of it too, is it all blends together. All right. So people say, well, my grandma's had it, so I'm going to get it. Well, here's the reality of genetics. If you took 10 kids that had exactly the same genes, and if it was truly 100% genetic, every kid would develop the same disease and same condition at the exact same age. When does that happen? It doesn't, because you have the interplay between the nutrition and the diet, the lifestyle choices, and the predispositions. All that matters. Right. So here's a book that Seth Moulder was talking about last night, Younger Next Year. Okay, well, for men and for women. And he talked about something that I think is really, really critically important. I want you to know, he talked about how we can literally biologically get younger based upon the choices that we make. Because right now we're at the beginning of the year where it gives us a chance to kind of decide, are we where we want to be? If not, what are we going to do to get in a different spot? And he said something that I wanted to bring up here. He talked about that every cell in your body replaces itself in a certain period of time. So I just threw this up just so you can kind of see this. Small intestinal cells replace themselves every 2 to 4 days. A stomach cell, 2 to 9 days. Let's go down a little bit. Taste buds, 10 days. Bone, osteoclast, which is the bone breakdown, 2 weeks. Skin cells, 10 to 30 days. You have pancreas beta cell, and this is in a rat, so that's the one that produces insulin, every 20 to 50 days. All right. Bone osteoblast. So think about this. The osteoclast replaces itself every 2 weeks. The ones that build bone every 3 months. A red blood cell, 4 months. Okay. A liver hepatic cell, 6 months to a year. Fat cells, look at that. That sucks. 8 years. Okay. So here's why I brought this up in a minute. But I want you, here's a taste bud. And I want you, by show of hands, how many of you crave foods that you really wish you didn't? Okay. Anybody do that? All right. So if that's the case, you got to do things for a period of time to change the taste buds. So the average person has 10,000 taste buds and are replaced every 2 weeks. All right. Every 2 weeks. All right. So I'm going to not share my screen here in a second. I'm going to bring a couple things back up. All right. So what I hope that you get from this conversation is that the cravings you have right now, the where your body is right now, is because of the choices you've been making today, yesterday, last month, the last 6 months, and the last several years. But if you make changes You can change your taste bud, which is what you crave. You can change your bone health, which is the structure. You can change your muscle function if you change the messages that you tell your body, right? So it starts with one change. One change. One change can lead to other changes. So here's what I want you to do, and I hopefully you really grasp is this, is that changes matter and the messages you put into your body matter. So if you've ever, I want you to think about a conversation you've had with somebody, anybody. We're gonna take two scenarios. And that person told you something like, hey, Eileen, I love you. Stephen, thank you for everything you've ever done for me. So think of a positive conversation you've had that you can still recall and the feelings that come from that. That's a message that sends to your body a certain signal. Then I want you to think in reverse. Think of a negative conversation, right? Think about a child that maybe were told that they were too stupid to learn, right? And the impact that conversation can have if they choose to believe it. So Thomas Edison was told or written a letter by his teacher, he was too stupid to learn. His mom didn't tell him about that letter. He found that after she'd passed, right? She told Thomas, the people said, you're just so smart, we can't teach you. Okay, so here's what I want you to keep in mind. Everything that you allow in your mind, everything you allow in your body, everything that every person you allow yourself to be around is sending messages to yourself to move towards health or to move towards dysfunction and disease. So I want you to set yourself up for success. That's what this is about tonight. Set yourself for success and say, decide to make one change that will help you put yourself on a different road to where you want to be. So if that for you is, you know what, and it's much easier to replace than it is to remove. All right. So you guys all said you had cravings sometimes, right? So I want you to take one craving at one time of day that you all know you have. Maybe for you, that's when you wake up in the morning. Man, I freaking want my coffee with a bunch of sugar. Or maybe it's, you know what, after I ate lunch, like, oh man, I just need something sweet, right? Or maybe you want a cigarette, right? Whatever. So it's, you get that craving. Now, when you get the craving this time, you're going to replace it with something different. For me, it's that afternoon. Like I would like to do something sweet or salty. I'm more of a salty guy at two different times. One of them is right after lunch. All right. And so for me, that's what I kick, what I use my Axial. And Axial is what's called a nootropic. It's a brain drink. I use that to replace that craving because it has things in it that helps the brain get more alert. Right. So if you're a coffee drinker, that's all natural thing you could do. Or you can say, hey, when I get the craving after dinner, which who doesn't do that sometimes, I want you to do one of two things. I want you to, instead of going toward what you normally would, I want you to say, I'm going to drink a big glass of water and I'm going to wait 15 minutes before I eat anything. Just that one simple little change, most of the time a craving will go away. Or, which would be even better, is that you go for a walk for 15 minutes. And if you still have the craving it back, then you will have to come up with another solution. But these simple changes allow you to identify and then make a transition, replace it with something different. Okay, cool? Because everything you're doing is sending messages to your cells. And imagine having somebody tell you every single day that they love you, they appreciate you, they value you, they want you to be around a really, really long time and to have fun together. Like imagine that, okay? As opposed to somebody telling you, you know what, I really don't like you that much. And I really don't care if you're around. And you know what, you kind of suck, okay? The food that you're putting in your body is doing that to your cells. You know what, I love you. I'm so glad you're around. I'm glad we're gonna be friends forever. Or you're saying, no, I really don't care that much about you. Like, you can, whatever. That's exactly what food's doing. We just don't think about it, right? And if you're really struggling with food cravings, well, then we can have conversation about ways to shift that. But it's much easier to replace than to remove. So put a good replacement there. Use water, use walking, use like Axial, use something like that to replace it. Super, super easy. If you're a coffee drinker and love the coffee with lots of sugar, actually works well. Or if you peppermint tea, for a lot of people can help with that. If you're a salt craver, which some people, they love chips and salsa, or they want something salty, maybe a margarita. I don't know. I don't drink, but something salty. Try using things like lemon and lime in water, right? Because lemon and lime also excite the part of our tongue that craves salt. Right. So these are different tools and strategies that you can do. Because if you make that one decision moving forward, it's going to help you to make that next one decision. And this isn't something you're going to like. Getting healthy or being fit isn't a one-time decision. It's an everyday decision. So be kind to yourself. When you fall down, which you're going to, pick yourself up faster. Right? That's why we're part of this group, is to help doing just that. All right. So every week we do these. So next Wednesday, we'll do the same thing. And we'll cover different topics related to specifically getting fit this year, physically, mentally, and emotionally, and even financially in some ways, because all that matters. And then we'll be there every Wednesday. So jump in, join us. If you're looking for tools and strategies, like, hey, I'd like to take it to another level, there's specific products that I use every day that allow us to address that. So if someone has a question related to that, then get with whoever invited you here and then give you a couple ideas on how to do that. Okay?
Thanks for watching. And remember, one change can have an enormous effect. Remember to subscribe, hit the bell and the like, and we'll see you next time on Love to Live.